Welcome to the Caregiver Relief Podcast, where we help family caregivers go from surviving to thriving. I'm your host, Diane Carbo, a registered nurse and longtime caregiver advocate. If you've ever felt crushed by anxiety, guilt, or emotional exhaustion, even on those good days, this episode is made for you. My guest today has spent more than 20 years helping people and caregivers just like you release those heavy feelings in minutes using only their voice. No rehashing the past, no endless therapy sessions. Please welcome Deepak Chari, certified biofeedback specialist and creator of the Life Transformation Technology Program. This episode is sponsored by myvitalvault.net, your all-in-one life organizer for aging adults and caregivers. It's designed to help you securely store your essential legal, medical, and emergency information in one easy-to-access place. Because when a crisis hits, being prepared can make all the difference. Join our Caregiver Relief community, a warm, welcoming space where you can connect with other caregivers, ask questions, share stories, and find support from people who truly understand. Visit community.caregiverrelief.com to join now, because caregiving is one of the hardest and most meaningful things you'll ever do, and no one should have to do it alone. And if this episode speaks to you, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. Every click helps us reach more caregivers who need encouragement, resources, and hope. Deepak, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to make my listeners aware of your program. And thank you for helping us learn about how we can bring real and immediate relief to every tired caregiver out there listening today.
Thank you, Diana, for having me on your show.
Thank you. In fact, I want you to know I looked up the meaning of your name, because I do that when I find different names. And I saw that it means light.
Yes.
Yes. And I thought, what a perfect job for you, position for you, because you're bringing light into the world and shedding light on all of us on important information that can help us. So your mama named you.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess you see the light or hear the light.
Yes. Now, Deepak, can you share a little bit about yourself? How did you go from engineering to becoming a biofeedback specialist?
Great question. Great question. I, first of all, became an engineer just because my father was an engineer. So that was it. But there's more to the story of how I became a biofeedback specialist, because it all starts from my childhood. See, my parents came to this country in the late 50s, early 60s time. So I was a first generation kid. Me and my sister were first generation kids in this country. People didn't see people like us before, other classmates.
I get that. I understand. Yeah.
So basically, I was bullied around. That was my pattern. I was bullied as a kid. So my sister is a girl, so she got it in a different way, but I got it the physical kind of thing. And I was hiding away. So where I would hide, and this was around when I was 7, 8 and older, is in the library. I would hide out in the library till it was safe to come out. And so I could avoid them. So this went on for years. But while I was hiding in the library most of the time, I was grabbing books from the shelf. And guess what? Those books happened to be on the law of attraction and boosting self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. Now, I didn't even know what the heck law of attraction is or self-confidence and all that stuff. But I was reading it, and it gave me confidence so that once I left the library, I'd feel like, okay, I can face another day. So that kept going on and on. Now, I thought, okay, this bullying will hopefully stop when I'm an adult. But then it went into junior high, and I still got bullied, but in a different way. And junior high and high school was most like, okay, you're not in our group. In fact, you're not in any group. You don't really fit with us. You don't have what it takes to be in our group. So then I was in my own group, only myself. So then I thought, okay, when I'm 18, then this will end. But then I went to the dean of engineering college, and I told him, I would like to be an engineer. Now, instead of supporting me, he said, I don't know if you have what it takes to be an engineer, but I do see potential for you on the other side of campus. I said, well, the only building that I know on the other side of campus is the theater department. So are you saying you think I should be an actor? Is that what you're saying? He goes, I think you have what it takes there, but not as an engineer. Big smile on his face. So I was 18, 19. I was like, yo, how dare you? I'm going to show you. And that kind of thing 18-year-olds would say, rebellious. So I said, I'm going to be the best damn engineer you ever saw. You're not going to stop me. You're trying to hold me back. So
Yes.
it's one of those deals. So it went in reverse away. So I said, so boom, I went through. And then I said, I'm going to do my master's to show you, Mr. D. So I did my master's degree. Yeah, it's so hilarious how that motivated me to do that. Now,
Yes.
all along the way, I had professors, teachers who were very narcissistic, condescending, controlling, manipulative, and definitely not nice. But I
What a
also,
surprise.
yeah, see a pattern here? And then I drew quote unquote friends who are mean, narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, and negative, and everything under the sun, gaslighting, everything in the name under the sun. Managers, supervisors, bosses, friends, classmates, and even relationships on the female side. So I was like, wait a minute, this is getting out of control here. I thought this was supposed to end when I was 18, but it's going on and on. So when I was a teenager, my father passed away at the age of 51. He was following all the regular correct dosages that his doctors told him to take, but he still suddenly died of a heart attack at that age. And we were teenagers. My mom was suddenly a widow. So then I told my sister at that time when I was a teenager, I said, why did this happen? How did this happen? And how can we prevent this from happening to anyone else when we were teenagers?
Yeah.
So then fast forward over to 1999, my sister and I decided to form the Chari Center of Health, which is an integrative functional medical center that goes to the root causes versus the symptoms of different health conditions.
Yeah.
So my sister's a medical doctor, so she went through regular medicine just so she could practice natural medicine, this natural approach. So I was working as an engineer in the field after I graduated with my master's degree as an engineer. And we formed a partnership to form the Chari Center of Health, as I mentioned, in 1999. But I was managing the business. I wasn't actually healing anyone because I don't have a medical background of any sort. So I saw all the people she was healing. I got so inspired. I'm improving productivity and efficiency, quality control in different industries, which is nice. But I was more inspired by how she was healing people because it just seemed so more inspiring to me at the time. So I said, so this is what I did. I know this is what I did. I said, universe, can you please help me in some way so I can work at the own center that I'm managing to also heal people, just like my sister is, with my engineering degree. So I forgot about it. 2 weeks later, some friends came up to me and said, Deepak, this guy's going to be speaking in Santa Monica, California. We lived in San Diego, California at the time. How your voice reveals accurately what the limiting perceptions, negative beliefs, negative thoughts, and limiting emotions that are going on in your subconscious mind, and how you can create computerized voice maps of those emotions from your subconscious, and most importantly, how you can then send frequencies to those people who have those challenges to release those limiting patterns, regardless of how long they've had those patterns. Depression, anxiety, fears, phobias, emotional trauma, emotional triggers, whatever it may be. So I go, okay, this sounds really amazing. So I went and attended the presentation, and as he was presenting, all these light bulbs went off in my head, like, wait a minute, maybe this is something I could do at the center because I have a technical background. I put my intention out there 2 weeks before. And then another bulb came on. Wait a minute, this bullying pattern that I've had my whole life, could this end that too? Could that clear that too? I went up to him and I said, I would like to apprentice under you. You created the software for this technology. I would like to learn under you how you're doing this. He says, okay, I'm only going to take a handful of people, literally. And I just got in the last one, basically. He never did anyone after that. And he watched me as I cleared people of all kinds of emotional issues, depression, anxiety, fears, phobias, emotional trauma. He goes, okay, I think you got it down really well. I said, thank you. And he said, but make sure you work on yourself too. And so after I learned everything, I had my engineering background. So I first took what he taught me and I said, I wonder if I can simplify things, improve things, optimize things, make it a little faster, a little smoother. So I took what he taught me, I made it my own system, and I called my new system, as you mentioned, my Life Transformation Technology Program. So I called it my Life Transformation Technology Program because that's what it does. So now I worked on myself after I created it. I said, can I clear this bullying pattern? So I worked on myself, followed the exact processes, and guess what? I cleared the bullying pattern. And how I knew that is because the moment I started clearing it and I felt the relief in my body, like the emotional release, I started drawing wonderful, nurturing, supportive, compassionate, caring people in my life. And I never did that before in all areas: bosses, supervisors, mentors, colleagues, business colleagues, everybody. And then I said, my God, this is a matrix. It's like the movie The Matrix. It's a program that I was dealt that can be cleared in a very eloquent process. And then I can have all those things even though I never had them. And to tell your listeners what I mean by this is, even if you went through a life of struggle and unhappiness and strife and depression and all of these negative emotions, and you thought, oh, how am I ever going to get out of this? There's a way out. Because I did it for myself. I've done it on thousands of people after I worked on myself all over the US and world. And it's all done remotely. There's hope for everyone out there. So it doesn't matter where you are, what struggles you are, what hope, you can get out of this and be free of that. So
when I was in nursing, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When I was in nursing school, we had 8 weeks of psychiatry. And during that whole course in the 1970s, early 70s, they taught us that our mental health is the root cause of many of our illnesses. And now I will yes, because they told us if you're a stressed person all the time, you may cause yourself heart attack, high blood pressure. And if you're an anxious person, you may be causing yourself to have all these things. Stress eating makes you diabetic, that kind of thing. But they never addressed, while they addressed what could be causing it, they never addressed how to deal with the root causes of that. So they knew back in the 70s that there is, what you're talking about is very real. And so I'm really excited because I think, number one, I think functional medicine doctors are the last horizon for good healthcare in our country, because right now Medicare has made so many changes that the reimbursement is, we only get 15 minutes with a doctor. In that time, you're supposed to be able to talk to them about what you're feeling, and then they need to assess you. They need to diagnose, treat, chart, all within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're missing so much. They are just missing so much. But the reimbursement rate is so low that doctors in today's world are making less than they did 20 years ago. So what we have is a situation where we actually have a shortage of doctors and specialists. And that's why I was so excited to be able to introduce you to my listeners today, Deepak, because you're offering people a solution to many problems that they have. Can you tell me, I know I want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but how does advanced voice biofeedback technology work in just simple terms?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's basically, to simplify it, and it's all done remotely with clients, so they don't have, from the comfort of their home or wherever they are at. All you need is a laptop, a headset with a swing down mic, and a technology that I, as a practitioner, send to you that you plug into your device, into your computer, to transmit the frequencies into their hand, specifically, which is the energy center of your body. And those frequencies go through your hand, and you won't even feel them, and they go through and resonate all 60 trillion cells of your body to resonate in perfect harmony. Because when the cells resonate in harmony, any disharmonious thoughts cannot coexist in that environment, according to this concept. And so that's a simplified way of saying it. So basically, in a session, they think of the challenging issue, depression, anxiety, fear, phobia, emotional trauma, whatever that situation for them is. They close their eyes, they think of that challenge, they speak about it so I can calibrate their voice. I create what are called computerized voice maps. I'll keep it as simple as possible. So I listen to their voice, maybe have them talk for 10, 15 seconds. Tell me what's challenging you, what's upsetting you, what's angering you, what you feel sad about, whatever it is. Yeah. So they talk about it, and I do all these calculations on their voice. They just simply talk about it. And once I create a computerized voice map, which is of their subconscious mind, which is 99% of the pattern that's causing all the situation. Then it's like an emotional heat map. It'll show very high or extreme emotions, or it'll show emotions that are not really challenging. So I look at the high extreme ones, and whether it's grief or depression or anxiety or fears or emotional trauma, whatever it is. And then I'll know what frequencies to send to them specifically to release those patterns. So then they place their hand on that technology that plugs into their computer. They close their eyes. They listen to some frequencies, some music, but hidden in that are different frequencies unique for what they need. And I do this in bursts of 2 to 3 minutes at a time. Each session's an hour. So in each of those rounds, as it's called, which is 2 to 3 minutes, they just simply think of the challenging emotion. They feel it like, oh, I was so wronged when, this relationship broke up, or I was so wrong when this person betrayed me, or whatever it is, or when I was fired from this job, or whatever. They think of that challenging situation. They feel the emotions of it. And while they're feeling it, I'm sending them the frequencies, which is literally like unwiring it, that the charge, the wiring from that, how they was thinking about it, release the emotional charge, and then rewiring it in another optimal way. So they see the situation in a more strong and a powerful, empowered way than they did before, without the emotional baggage. So first we're releasing the emotional charge, unwiring the previous way of how they saw the situation, then rewiring it. This is all behind the scenes. They don't have, the clients don't have to deal with any of this. And that's what I'm doing. And then rewiring in a way that's optimal for them. So here's an example for your listeners. So let's say on a level of 1 to 10, they're really depressed or about something that happened in their life, okay, some trauma or whatever in their family or family members. So they're on a level 1 to 10, okay, extreme pattern. So I will have them close their eyes, think of that whatever happened there, feel the emotions, cry it out, whatever, in those couple minutes at a time. Now, while they're thinking about it, feeling the emotions, after a couple of minutes, I'll say, now tell me again about that same situation that you just told me about in the last round, a couple of minutes ago. Okay, yes, this happened, I felt this, I was devastated by this. Now, from a high extreme reading, maybe it's just a high. Like on a level 10, maybe it's a 7, in other words. So then I'll say, okay, let's do that again. And we do it again. And then it'll drop from 7 to a 5 to a 2. Wow. Maybe in that session, our session. And if it's a really heavy dose thing, even if it drops to a 3 or something, we can come back for a follow-up session and work on that to clear it again. Now, they may have had this, mind you, for 5 years, 10 years, who knows how long. And matter in a couple sessions, we can release that. So it's a quantum technology that works at a very eloquent but a smooth way to clear something that you may have had for many years in a short period of time. So that's basically what we're doing. And then when I notice after I clear that, I say, how do you feel about it now, that same situation? Because I know I can hear by the resonance of their voice that charge isn't there. Yeah. Oh, I feel, yeah, it was terrible what happened. It was so sad, but you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm able to accept it. And you know what? I can move forward now. Maybe I learned from this. Maybe it made me a stronger person. It developed my character and my heart. And I can not only help myself, maybe I can help others as well. They'll say this on their own, not me saying this.
Yes. Most caregivers have tried talk therapy or support groups. Now, I want to know, why does talking about problems sometimes leave us more drained? And I see that according to you, you're able to provide a solution that will resolve our issues without having us go through. People are in support groups for years, and people will see therapists for decades and still not having a resolution to their issues, which I like. So I'm very interested in what you have to offer.
Yes. Let me give you a case study. I think you'll like, your listeners really like this, and maybe you will as well. I worked on a lady, she was 90. She came to my office, somehow found out about my work, pretty innovative woman. She was living in a retirement home. And this is when I worked in Santa Barbara. She was living in a retirement home, and she was totally depressed. She was in an unhappy relationship. Her husband was also ailing in health, but she never was happy in the relationship anyway. She didn't want to live another day, and she was totally depressed. And she had, now here, get this, 65 years of that kind of therapy you're talking about.
Yes, I believe it. I
65 years, not how old she was, how many years of therapy she had, okay? Now she's coming to me and I said, okay, I'm not going to spend 65 years working on this issue. You already did that. I didn't tell her that, but that's what I was thinking.
No.
So when she came to the office, she said, Deepak, I've been depressed. I've been seeing a therapist and I'm not saying anything against any therapist or anyone. I'm just saying this is what she told me. Yeah. So she had 65 years of that. So I said, we're starting on a new clean slate here, okay? you're working with me with the quantum technology and my experience. Just forget everything you did before. Let's start from where you are now. So I started working on her. And session after session, she started feeling better and lighter. And from that depression, like a level 10, dropped to 7 and down till it really dropped down to basically 1 or 0. And then I said, how do you feel now? She goes, I feel really good. I feel light, like a huge weight was lifted off. I can think more clearly. Even though those horrible things happened in my life, her whole life, I think I feel stronger about it. I said, okay, good. So go back to your retirement place and keep me posted how you're doing. So even as I was doing the sessions, even to lower the number, everyone in the retirement place hated her. She was the enemy, number one, of that place. Even the people who were supposed to help her carry groceries, the guys into her house and all that stuff, they were even mean with her and didn't really want to help her much. And everybody, and she was all alone. She didn't want to live another day. So when I started working on her, she goes back to her retirement home place, and there's all these gifts by her door. Wine bottles, bread, cheese, and all this stuff. So who's putting that there? Apparently, some new people who had come to the retirement place thought she was the main key person to connect everyone. And she was actually, what? And she was actually the enemy of the whole place. She said, I thought I heard you were the keeper. This soon after I'm working on this lady. Can you imagine? She goes home and that's what happened. And so then all these people wanted to connect with her. And even the guy who would carry stuff to her, begrudgingly carry stuff to her apartment for her and we're not very happy doing it. This time I did the sessions on her, and then she goes back and he was like, he helped her get the groceries. He was like, can I help you, man, take your stuff to your place? She goes, I'll be happy to help you. Is there anything you need help with? He didn't usually talk like that. He says, yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you want me to help you with? Anything else at all? And she was like, is this the same guy? It can't be. It was. And then all these people started inviting her to all their family reunions and parties and all these things. So she was at the head table of all these family reunions, and she's not even a family member. And even the family members weren't at the key table. And she got invited to so many of these things. So then she comes to me for a follow-up session. She says, Deepak, I have a problem. I said, what problem? You had nobody. No, everyone hated you. You didn't want to live another day. Now you have optimism and hope for life, and all these people want to be friends with you. You have more friends than you can count. What's the problem? The problem is I can't go to all of these reunions. I have to say no to half of them. There's not enough time and hours in a day to go to all of them. I don't know how to say no to these people. Can you help me with that? I go,
God bless.
I can guaranteed help you say no, because you never say yes to anything and no one said yes to you. I can help you say no, no problem. So, yeah, there you go.
I want you to know your story in the beginning of being bullied because you were different.
Yeah.
I think every listener out there, for the most part, can understand that in some way. And I want you to know that I actually observed cliques in nursing homes and in assisted living and the continuing care retirement communities. And there's always, it's rampant. They're like high schoolers. They tattle on one another. They have we're the in group and you're the out group. So I can understand and really see where this woman was disliked by everybody, because I have seen that before. But one of the things I really tell my caregivers is change your perspective, you change your life. And she could have I've been overweight on and off my whole life, and I always felt ignored or dismissed or discounted because of my weight. And I know that when I lose weight, I act differently. In fact, I laugh because you were talking about the professor or the dean that said you couldn't be an engineer. I had a gentleman in California. I was out there for a year. And he said to me, and I was in my 50s at the time, he said, women your age are invisible.
What? Wow.
Oh, yes. California's a different breed of people. And the whole time I was there, I didn't get invited out to eat or is invited anywhere because I was there to work, but I'm an outgoing person, but California because of their nice weather. And I know you're a Californian, so forgive me for making judgment calls.
I was a Californian. Now I live
Yeah.
in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, okay. People have such nice weather all the time. They don't have a need. They're more self-centered about their lives. They can go on and do what they want when they want, and they don't have to ask for help. But so I became a glitter goddess. Oh, when I was in my 50s and 60s, I laugh now because I made sure that I shone because I'm not the angel of death. I'm not doom and gloom. Here I am. And because I changed my way of acting and being around people, they responded differently to me. So I can actually see how you helped your 90-year-old lady change her perspective. And it's really, and I can also see that the people that judged her and were cruel to her, I can see them over time changing the group dynamic because she's working with new people that they become the in crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I have seen this all my life and experienced it personally. So I really appreciate what you're saying because people, if they're willing to change and you offer a wonderful solution, I think that makes all the difference in the world because there are people, and I know caregivers aren't going to be happy about this, but many of them feel like they're victims and they're stuck in that victim mode where, people ask for help. They say, oh, I'm okay, but they really need help and they don't do it because they feel like they're being a failure. They're seen as a failure if they don't ask for help. And they really need to get over that because it's a necessity because a caregiving journey is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And nobody in God's earth is capable of being caring for another human 24/7, and family caregivers actually expect that of themselves. In fact, a statistic that I'm going to share with you will shock you. 63% of family caregivers become seriously ill or die before the person they're caring for passes.
Wow.
Yes, and that's chronic stress. And I just got the latest statistics on the family caregiver. They provide over $9 billion of unpaid care in every year. And they are ignored, they go unacknowledged, and there's no respite care available to them. They need to get out of this mode. That's why I love what you're offering because it can help them blossom to break through. I have a question. Do you have the top 3 hidden emotional blocks you see over and over again that may be keeping people from moving forward?
My website is called fastanxietyhelp.com. So anxiety would probably be, that's why I made it like that. But
Yeah.
I've talked to groups of people. I said, raise your hands if you guys are stressed. 1 or 2 people out of 30 raise their hand. I go, I know everybody's stressed here. There's no way.
Yes.
I said, raise your hand here. Can you relate? Raise your hand here if anyone has felt anxious.
Yeah.
Stress, anxiety, it's not the same thing. I'm like, okay. So it's interesting, tomato, tomato, right? What words you use. So yeah, so it goes by that. But for sure, stress, anxiety, that's a very common thing. But there's a lot of depression, grief, guilt, shame, regret, low esteem, low self-esteem, low self-worth, not feeling seen, heard, understood, appreciated, valued. Very common. My program helps with all of that. Low self-confidence, low self-esteem, low self-worth, not feeling seen and heard. I'm Deepak, I'm talking to all these administrators. They're not listening to me. Why are they not listening to me? And there's an interesting reason for that. You want to know the reason? Why they're not being heard? Okay.
Absolutely.
So this connects to my work. That's why I said that.
Yes.
When we have these limiting patterns, this is a breakthrough I've discovered, those emotions squash the notes in our voice from being heard. And different emotions squash different notes of our voice. So imagine you have a keyboard, a piano of 12 notes. And I listen for that. And every cell in our body, let's say we have 60 trillion cells, I know, around there. Every cell has a keyboard in it, okay? And I listen. When you speak about anything, Diane, or anyone, You're speaking with all 60 trillion cells at the same time, not just your voice, with your whole being. So when I'm listening to your voice, I'm listening to every cell of your body, every part of you, not just your voice, and every emotion too, that you may not even be aware of. I can pick it all up. So if I'm not hearing you, it's because those emotions are literally squashing the notes on your voice. And I found different emotions squash different notes in your voice. In other words, guilt squashes different notes in your voice. Anger, totally different set of notes in your voice are squashed. Depression, different notes in your voice. Anxiety, different notes in your voice. So different notes. So therefore, if you have a lot of different emotions, maybe most of your voice is not hurt, in other words. So therefore, when people are, 99% of my clients happen to be women, and the most common thing they share with me is, Deepak, I'm not seen, heard, valued, understood, appreciated, and acknowledged.
Yes.
And that's the most common thing they say, tell me. And I say, and that's because they're not heard. And if you're not heard, you're not seen, by the way. And so that's why this happens. So when I release these limiting patterns through this advanced voice biofeedback process that I was talking about, all the notes in your voice will eventually be heard in a way they never were before. In other words, you'll get a voice like you've never had, I guarantee you, in your whole life when I release these patterns. Because you would have been repeating these same unconscious patterns since you were a kid over and over again, so those same notes would eventually get squashed all the time. But when you work with me and I see the whole playing field and I release those limiting patterns, then all the notes in your voice in all those cells are heard. And then you'll be heard and seen in a way you never were before. So then you'll be acknowledged, understood, valued, heard, and all of that.
Yeah.
Let me give you a quick example and following up on that. I worked on a woman who worked in the corporate industry with men, in this case. She was a brilliant woman. She offered brilliant ideas. But the men, in this case, never really listened to her ideas. They had better ideas. Their better ideas lost them millions of dollars in the company. Great job, guys. So she suggested, before they lost that, guys, I don't recommend you doing this. This is what I recommend. Not only will you not lose money with the idea you're doing, but you'll actually make a ton of money. But they didn't hear her at all. So she came, and so they ended up losing tons of money. And they complained, gosh, I wish we could have done something about that. And she was like, I was telling you the whole time. And they didn't hear her even say that. So she came to me and said, Deepak, I'm so frustrated with these men. I'm working with them all these years. They could have not only not lost money, but made tons of money. And I've given other many ideas, and they never listened to one word I said. So I said, you know what? I'm analyzing your voice right now as you're sitting in my office. At that time, I did it in person. Now it's remote. I don't hear much of your voice either. And I do this for a living. And if I don't hear it, and I do this for a living for now 20 years at this point, guaranteed they won't. And if they don't hear you, they won't see you also and acknowledge you. That's why this is happening. But no worries, you're in the right place at the right time to work with me. So I worked in clearing all those imprints and patterns, and I'll talk about this later. It goes back to your childhood, actually, where it came from. So once I cleared those limiting patterns, I said, I want you to talk to those men again. Deepak, they never listen to me. I said, you're not the same woman now. I can hear your voice. It has perfect strength and harmony and perfect melody. They will listen to you. You have other creative ideas of how they can make money. Okay, that one didn't work. They didn't listen to you, but you're such a creative woman, you'll think of something else. So she goes to them, she goes, oh yeah, I got it. Okay. And she said, guys, okay, you didn't listen to me before. I have this incredible idea of how you can turn this whole thing around and make a ton of money now, even though you didn't listen to me before. This is what you should do. Oh my God, that is the most incredible idea I ever heard in my life. You should tell us more ideas like this more often. We wouldn't have lost money in that other deal. You know what I'm saying? She was like, ah. And so they listened to her this time, and the opposite happened. They made good money. And then she got promoted and went up to the stars. But it all started with her when she talked to me about what was going on. Because all the notes were heard in her voice. You get a voice like you've never had before, people will really listen to you. It has resonance and power. That's why a lot of singers, actors, authors, and professional speakers come and see me, even though they have their coaches. But their coaches can't get the results I have because they teach them diaphragmatic breathing techniques. But no matter how many techniques they've taught them, if you have those limiting emotions, those will squash the notes in your voice. It doesn't matter. So that's why when I get these results, those coaches of those top singers, and there's some stars that you know, which I cannot share because I had to sign an agreement. I can't share their names, but you know them, trust me. Their coaches came to me and said, Deepak, what are you doing? I've been working with her for a decade, or him for a decade, her, and I could not get these results. What diaphragmatic technique are you doing? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it? I bet you it's that one, right? I said, I don't even know what a diaphragmatic technique is, I told them. They said, how are you doing this? How are you getting these kind of results? I said, it's a totally different technology that I've mastered and polished from what I was taught before. And then they started working with me. They're coaches. So it's funny, but not funny in a way though, because this can literally, if you do the same thing you always did, you're going to get the same thing you always got before. You've heard that?
Yes.
And you've heard that expression, you do the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yep.
So your subconscious does that though.
Yeah.
It repeats the same, it keeps you in a box. It thinks you think it's going to make me successful. No, it wants to keep you safe and in a box. And when you try to break out of that box, it pushes you back in. That's why I go into your subconscious and literally I remove those limits completely and train your subconscious to think, no, that's not how it should be. Let's keep opening it up more and more. And then subconscious goes, okay, whatever you say. But I have a way of communicating it through harmonics and technologies to do that.
You know what? I love that, because one of the things caregivers always say is they're ignored by the healthcare professionals, their family members. They're also judged and demeaned by everybody. And one of the things that I tell them, if you need to go to the doctors with your loved one, you need to hear what they're saying, take notes. And in my patient care advocate course, I actually encourage them to wear a lab coat and take a notepad, a clip with all these questions and stuff, to look like you're part of the team. But you know what? Only your program would allow them to do that, because I can't do that. Oh, yes, you can. Yes. And if you look like part of the team, you will be part of the team, and you but they don't have the confidence. And because I give them all the answers, I tell them how to approach things, but many are so hesitant. And I love that you have a system that can break the barriers that hold my caregivers back. I love that. And when they get acknowledged, and I actually tell them they're the center of all of their loved one's universe. And if they take on ownership of that, it means they're the ones in charge, and they're seeing things that other people aren't. Perfect example. Here I am, a nurse. I will tell you, here's a perfect example. When my son Casey was tiny, he had ear infections all the time, and he ended up having a set of tubes put in his ears. And I'll never forget this. The day after he had his tubes in, he had all this drainage coming out of his ears, like you would see snot running out of your nose, okay? And so I called the doctor, the surgeon, and I said to him, hey, Casey's got this stuff coming out of his ears. It's thick drainage. It's yellowish. He said, that's not possible. It's not possible. I said, excuse me? I said, first, I'm a nurse. I was still young, so I had only been a nurse for 6 or 7 years, but I knew drainage when it was coming out of your ear.
Of course.
And he says, you'll have to bring him in, because I don't think that's happening.
Oh my God. I can't believe this.
It was something he had never seen before, and it happened frequently with my son. And that's just one example of things. And I know that doctors have a tendency. Here's another situation. Many family caregivers, their loved one is sitting there in the hospital or in the doctor's office saying, yes, I do this, yes, I do that. And the caregiver is saying, because I've been in this situation, and I'll say, excuse me, sir or madam, whoever the doctor is, these are not true statements. I know for a fact. And the doctor tells me to be quiet and mind my own business. Now, here's a doctor taking information that is totally false. And I will tell you, the elderly are just hanging on so many times to every little bit of independence. They fear losing their independence. They fear being pushed into a nursing home or away out of their home. So they will blatantly lie about their compliance. about their meds and stuff. And the family caregiver, I've been in that situation where they just tell me, be quiet. And of course, being a nurse after so many years, I just would say, excuse me, I want to talk to you outside.
Huh.
Not in
Wow.
front of the patient then.
All
But
right.
I know because I've had that personal experience that family caregivers do too. And I see your platform as a way to overcome the adversities and the challenges of caregiving by just taking an hour to listen to some noise in their headset that will help them open up their thought process to other things. And I firmly believe change your perspective, you change your life. So I really push that.
That's
And
a beautiful statement. And that's the philosophy I also found. Yeah, exactly. Change your perspective, change your life. Absolutely. Beautiful.
And I think people hesitate to make those changes. And talk therapy didn't work for me. I've been to Al-Anon, I've been to adult children of alcoholic groups, I've been to women who overeat, I've been to all of them, and it didn't help me. I know because I've been through that. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck or afraid to make a change? Because that is the biggest issue I deal with every day, fear of change.
Yeah. The thing is, the fear of change happens because your subconscious wants to keep you in a box. Oh, if you change, then I can't keep you confined in here. What's going to happen? It's only going to be good for you, but the subconscious always pulls you back. So therefore, the people who are afraid to make a change, oh, I don't know if I should do this but it's a fear of something that hasn't even happened. False expectations appearing real. Fear, right? So they're thinking something's going to happen. What if nothing happens? What if you gain all kinds of confidence and you achieve things, you break out of that stuck pattern and you feel happy about life, you feel confident and believe in yourself? What about that? When I work with people, I retrain their subconscious to think in a different way. First, I have to remove the limiting beliefs that was there to begin with. And by the way, those come from childhood. I'll talk about that shortly. But once we remove that limiting belief, then I help to and release the emotional charge and upset from all the past upsets they had for being rejected, ignored, and all of that. Then I can rewire it in their subconscious so that it's in an optimal way where they feel confident to go into new ventures, into new territory, stretch themselves to grow, speak their mind, express their truth, and feel confident and good about it. Instead of fearing to say, oh my, people think this if I say that, people think, to break out of that pattern. But these patterns that hold us back that you're talking about, for people afraid to move forward, these patterns come from our childhood. But there's nothing that's permanent, nothing that's fixed. So for anyone who's fearing that, don't fear. No matter how long you've been stuck, you felt it's hopeless, there's no way out, I'll never get out of this mess, or I'll be always depressed or anxious my whole life. And even if you felt that, no, that's not the case. This is a situation that's been repeated over and over again. Your subconscious got used to it, but it's not something that you have to stick with. You can get out of it, you can release it, especially with this work I do, and you can be free and liberated and go on a totally new path that you've never gone on before to higher places of expansive growth.
I love that. I really love that. I know that fear of change is the biggest one, and self-sabotage is really huge in people. And denial that they can even break out of their situation. I've had life-limiting beliefs, and I that have challenged me, and I worked hard because I needed to change. And the only way a lot of people change, like alcoholics or even drug addicts, I'm not either of those. I've got my isms, but it's not that. It's not drugs or alcohol. But when you focus on it and you try to break through, it's hard, but you just keep moving forward. Like I've gone back from being a glitter goddess to just a studabubba again. Oh, I know that sounds silly, but
It does.
I always say people want to fix me up with a man. And I'm like, no, I don't want that right now because here's a life-limiting belief. I attract bad men. I can't be bothered with men then because I don't make good choices. Put that aside. So that's a life-limiting belief. And I think a lot of people have them. Like I know with my caregivers, they just don't believe, they believe they're a failure if they ask for help. They believe that they don't deserve better because their family members and their uninvolved siblings all tell them that. So that's really, really interesting how your program helps them break free of all those life-limiting beliefs. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And carrying on with what you just shared with me, Diane, remember I was saying, where do these patterns? I don't believe I can move forward. I don't have what it takes. I'm not good enough. Where does this all come from? This is important to know for your listeners. It comes from your childhood.
Yeah.
And after studying this extensively and working on this for 20 years, I found out there's 4 phases that we all go through.
Oh,
Yeah. The
yeah.
first phase, this is interesting, is when your parents decide to procreate you. I'm being very blunt and direct here.
Yes,
In the
yeah.
moment that they're creating you as a child, whatever feelings, thoughts, emotions, regrets, guilt, shame, worry, doubt, trauma, negative thinking, in that moment while they're procreating you,
Yes.
gets downloaded right to your energy field. So if you go to the computer and you buy a brand new computer, it's clean, right? The hard drive is clean. There's nothing on it. That's who you are. You're just clean hard drive. You're just like this little energy little being, just like a egg, tiny little dot. But all this unresolved energy from both your mom and your dad, and by the way, with this technology, I can actually quantify the percentage of that and what those emotions are. And from them, I can actually do that. Gets downloaded in your energy field. The unresolved issues of your mom, the unresolved issues of your dad get around your energy field. You're otherwise a clean hard drive. But guess what? Not only that, the unresolved emotional issues and limiting belief systems of your grandparents on both sides, that is your mom's and dad's side, also get downloaded into the mix, a certain percentage.
Yeah.
So you're this little tiny thing being formed, but all of these unresolved issues from them, maybe they had addictions, maybe they had trauma from the world war, different wars. Maybe they had other issues that they didn't resolve. Those get downloaded to you. Now, you don't have to, what if all your grandparents died before you were born? A lot of people say, Deepak, they died before I was born, so my grandparents didn't affect me at all. I'll say, no, that's not true at all. I can quantify that. I can, even though they're not there, they may have downloaded more unresolved stuff to you than your own parents did. And I can quantify that. So that's already going on. So that's phase 1. What's phase 2? Phase 2, you're in your mom's womb for 9 months. Whatever she's thinking, feeling, emoting, regretting, guilt, shame. Oh, I could have been a jet setter. Now I'm having this kid. I wasn't ready to have this kid. I don't want to have this kid. What's the message to the kid? You were never wanted. So the kid picks up all that. And what if the parents or the newly pregnant mom is very frustrated with the relationship she's in? She never wanted to be in. Maybe she got pregnant, she didn't want to, or maybe she's just frustrated with the relationship to begin with, your mom and dad. They're fighting. Maybe they want a divorce. And you're in there picking up all this negative energy too. So all her emotions, all the fight goes into you. That's phase 2. Now there's phase 3. What's that? You're born. Now when you're born, you think, hey, this is a new life I'm starting. You already had 2 phases downloaded to you. But now you have the direct interface with that mom and the dad and maybe grandparents, maybe uncles, other teachers that have a huge impact on us. I also did further research and found that from the age of 0 to 7, especially those years, you are literally like an absorbing sponge. Whatever is said to you, you do not question. It goes directly into your center of your subconscious. If they told you, gosh, I never wanted this kid, or you're not what I thought you would be. I thought you'd be more intelligent. Why can't you be as beautiful as that neighbor girl? Look how she walks, how she talks. Why can't you talk and act like her? Why do you slouch? Why are you like that? Why couldn't you be? I thought you'd be more talented in these other things that we were. You're just not what we thought you'd be. What is the message to the kid? I'm not good enough. I'll never be. I'm not worthy of love. I don't deserve love. And if the parents didn't know how to give love because they never got it, guess what? The kid thinks, wow, this is love. I'll take whatever I can get. I guess it's not much. So so that also goes into the mix, okay? So that's 0 to 7. Then from age 8 to 12, it's more of the same, where you might question it a little bit, but you pretty much say, yeah, I'm probably not worthy of anything. I'll never amount to anything. My parents didn't even want to have me. They don't even want to love me or show love to me. I'm neglected. I don't matter. So that goes from 0 to 12. Now from 0 to 12, you now have the rose-tinted glasses of how you see the world, your perception of the world, and what you manifest into your life. And that's what you project forward, and then it brings it into you. And that brings phase 4. What's phase 4? Phase 4 is when you take phase 1, 2, and 3, which I just discussed, and you duplicate it into your own life. Now you manifest the same things your parents and grandparents did into your own life, and then you project that and manifest that in your kids' lives, and then your kids do the same thing. So this is like Groundhog Day.
Yes.
So this keeps repeating. So this program I've developed, which I call my Life Transformation Technology Program, clears all those 4 phases that I talked about. So then you are liberated out of the matrix. You're literally like a rocket ship blasting out of this hard rock thing, and you're off on another course that they would have repeated over and over again otherwise.
I want you to know that is something, I didn't learn all the 4 phases. They didn't talk about that, but they taught us in psych that unresolved issues from your family members are part of you. And that's all that was said. So I know I've heard that before, and I always look at it, but I realize that, yeah. So I just find that fascinating. I do.
Absolutely. They are forming our whole belief system, whether we realize it or not. And we're repeating what they did. Some people say, I was brought up in a rough childhood. I will never treat my kids, or in my life, I will never live the life like my parents and grandparents did. But guess what? The programming is already there, those phases I talked about. And guess what? You will. And you'll say, I'll never draw relationships like my parents are into my life. Guess what? That's in the programming. You'll project that and you'll draw the same thing. So many people, the women, majority of my clients are women, say, Deepak, I'm drawing the same kind of mean, horrible people, narcissistic, condescending, manipulative, gaslighting people into my life over and over again. And I'm an honest woman, they tell me, and I'm compassionate, caring. Why am I drawing these horrible jerks in my life over and over again? Okay? So they'll tell me this, and I'll say, you know what it is? It's not your fault. You are a fantastic woman. You're outstanding. You're fantastic, just like you. But what it is, the programming inside of you that you're not aware of, which I can clearly see and hear, is what's creating these patterns. And then what I'll do is when I create the computerized voice maps, when I do a session, in the first half hour of the hour and a half session, I will map out their whole ancestry. I'll map out voice maps of their mom, their dad, their relationships that they've had, which is what I'm talking about, and their grandparents. And when I map it all out, I'll seclude their relationships and I'll put them in the center. And what that will show is, they'll say, Deepak, why did I draw this relationship? I'll say, I'll tell you. So when I load it up, it'll say, because this person was 80% like your father, 60% like your mother, 90% like your father's father, who died even before you were born, and 85% like your mother's mother, who had severe depression and other issues, and she died before you were born too. So that person is basically a kind of a mix of all those people together in one person. And then the next relationship is different people, but the unresolved issues of those different grandparents and parents into this person. And that keeps repeating and repeating until I clear you out of the matrix. And then you draw people who have no connection to any of that. And because I've worked on women who drew these kinds of people, men in their lives, and of course men too, but mainly women. And once I started clearing those patterns, all these wonderful, amazing men started coming in their lives. And they say, Deepak, I've never had a man like this in my life. It's like a storybook. I feel like, I said, well, have fun, date, go enjoy yourself, but don't commit all the way, because that's just train station 1. We have a couple more stations along the way that we're going to take you to. And so I'd keep doing that, and then they would be even better, way better than the first couple ones. And they said, Deepak, these are way better than the first one. And I said, hang on with me, we're doing great. And then finally they'll get to the place, say, oh, this has got to be the one. I'll say, yeah, now you're talking. So the point is, that as we clear these layers and layers of these previous imprints, things improve in your life in all areas. Of course, we're talking about relationships here, but it could be any kinds of other issues, and other emotional issues.
Exactly. I get that. Deepak, thank you so much. You've given so much information. I'm really excited about promoting and telling people about your platform. Where can people contact you or connect with you?
And thank you for asking. So if you want to find out more about my work and how I can help you, I offer a complimentary 15-minute consult with me, no obligations. So go to my website, which is www.fastanxietyhelp.com, and I'll spell that for you. Fast, anxiety, ANXIETY, and then help, HELP.com. Fastanxietyhelp.com. If you go to that website, you can read about my work, click on the testimonials tab so you'll see all the people I've helped and the benefits they've had from all walks, all backgrounds. And then you can look on the site for signing up for a complimentary 15-minute consult with me through Zoom. If you want to do it by phone, I can do that as well. And what I'll do, it's no obligations, I will hear what it is, the challenges going on in your life, what you'd want to have resolved in your life, and I'll propose a plan, which I customize for each person of how I can take you from where you are now to where you want to be. And it'll make it uniquely for you to take you to the place you want to be. And it's just that straightforward.
To my listeners, all this information will be put on the page that we post and in the show notes. To my family caregivers out there, you are the most important part of the caregiving equation. Without you, it all falls apart. So please learn to be gentle with yourself. Practice self-care every day because you are worth it.